In the Quacks of Quedlinburg The Duel, you'll be taking chips out of your bag and placing them in your bottle. Coloured chips go on the neck of the bottle, and when there are 3 coloured chips on the neck of the bottle, you get to move the patient closer to your market stall. When you have moved 6 patients all the way to your market stall, you are declared the biggest Quack of Quedlinburg and the winner of this game. But be careful, if you draw too many white chips out of your bag, the potion will explode, and as well as suffering great embarrassment, you won't be able to move the patient closer to your stall. That is a very brief overview of what happens in the Quacks of Quedlinburg The Duel, but in this video we'll be going through it all in much more detail. But without further ado, let's start by setting up. Setup works as shown. Place the board in the middle of the table and place the market stalls on the positions that have the starting market stall positions in them. Then take all of these customers and place them in the middle of the board. You'll also need 2 of these coins and put them on the wishing well. For your first game, it's recommended that you use the silver and the gold and place the bronze one back in the box. Then hand each player either the blue bottle or the yellow bottle and put all the chips in different piles depending on their value. So 1 big pile of 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s and 6s. Then hand each player a bag, and within that bag they're going to put 4 white 1s, 2 white 2s, a white 3, 3 black 1s, 2 black 2s, an orange 1 and a blue 1. You'll also need to get out the potion books so that each coloured chip has a defined function. The first time you're playing, it is recommended that you use the one with the 1 on it, but in future rounds you can slightly redefine what each colour does. You'll also need to prepare the big pile of gold, as well as 7 of these round cards. You can use whichever 7 of these you like, but again, it is recommended in the beginning to start with 1 with 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. The one with the 7 marked on it must always be used no matter what. And at that point, you are set up and ready to start playing to determine who is the biggest Quack of Quedlinburg. The gameplay works over 6 separate phases, and we'll go through each of them in turn. But the first of these 6 phases, and I genuinely love that this is included in a game of this magnitude, is you start by tossing the coins. Simply toss them both, and then each player will get 1 of the coins. In the first round, it doesn't really matter who picks first. My wife normally picks first when I play with her because she's prettiest, but in all subsequent rounds, it is the player who is losing who gets to choose which of the coins they pick. Basically, they give you some kind of bonus or upgrade. After that, it's time for perhaps the main gameplay element, which is taking chips from your bag and placing them in your bottle. If you've played the original Quacks of Quedlinburg before, in that game players do this simultaneously, but here 1 player does it at a time. The principle is the same. You reach into your bag, you take a chip. In this case, I have a black chip. Coloured chips, and by coloured I mean any colour other than white, go into one of these 3 spaces in the neck of your bottle. If you were to reach in and grab a white chip, as I have done in this case, then they go along the bottom over here. In this case, I've taken a number 2, so rather than going here, I go 1, 2. That's the similar kind of counting mechanism as in the original Quacks of Quedlinburg. If I then reach in and I take a white 1, that then starts from here, and 1, we go there. This continues until one of 3 things happen. Either I get enough white chips so that a white chip ends up on one of these spaces. In that case, my bottle has exploded. Or it carries on until I have 3 coloured chips filling up the neck of my bottle. And just to demonstrate what would happen then, let's assume we're a few rounds in and it looks like this. Then what I would do is I would add up these 3 numbers plus the number of the last white chip there. So 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 equals 5. And I would then move the patient 5 steps closer to my market stall. These 3 would then go into here, and it is then the next player's turn. When you take out a coloured When you take a coloured chip from your bag and you place it in the neck of the bottle, you also immediately get get the effect from the coloured chip. However, some of them do have this symbol, in which case it's an after effect, which means it comes in the third stage of the gameplay, which we'll get onto next. But you then carry on doing that, then it's my opponent's turn, and then when they're done doing that, the white chips stay here, and then I'm reaching into my bag again, hoping to get some interesting chips. Then at this point, again, I would move 2, 3, 4, 5, move this guy 5 steps closer to my market stall. When somebody lands on my market stall, then hooray for me, I get to put them over here because they are then a permanent locked-in customer for me. Then my market stall moves 2 spaces further back, and also the effect that is written down here has to be applied. In this case, the opponent gets to upgrade one of their black chips to the next number. So they could take a black 1 and turn it into a black 2, for example, or a black 2 turn it into a black 3, etc. That's basically a catch-up mechanism within the game. So you carry on doing that, as I said, until one of 3 things happens. Either you explode by placing a white chip over here, or this is full, in which case it's the opponent's turn, or you could just simply decide, you know what, it's not worth the risk, I'm not going to take any more, in which case you are finished with this part of the gameplay, this round, and when your opponent does likewise, then we move on to stage 3. Stage 3 is indeed to look at the coloured chips you have, the ones that have after effects. For most chips, when you take them out of your bag, you will apply an effect immediately, but again, some of them have the after effect symbol, which occurs now. In this case, because I've drawn a blue one, then I would get to move the patient 1 step closer to my stall. If I had drawn 2 blue chips with different numbers, then I'd be able to move my stall 1 step closer to the middle. And if I'd drawn 3 different blue chips with different numbers, I'd be able to move 2 steps closer. The 4th stage of gameplay revolves around these round cards. As you can see, it is a weighing scales, and what one of the players is going to do is they're going to take some of these 5 chips here, place them in one side, and then there's something printed on the other. The other player then gets to choose, do they want this, or do they want what's over here? And then when they've chosen one of those, you then get what they didn't choose. So it is in your best interest to make it as even as possible. When you're playing this for the very first time, because it can of course be difficult to know what is a purple 4 worth, well, down here there are little symbols, so the game makers think that this purple 4 is worth 2 black upgrades and 2 gold. I mentioned that when you take chips out of your bag and place them in your bottle, most of the effects, the ones that don't have after effects, take place immediately. Well, the effect of taking a black chip out of your bag into your bottle is that it gives you the equivalent number in gold. So if you take a black 2, you get to take 2 of these shiny gold symbols that are very difficult to hold on to, apparently. The reason why you would want these is because stage 5 of the gameplay is that you get to go to the market and buy better chips. You buy them with the gold, and the prices of them are written on the books down here. In this case, a pink 1 would be worth 6, a pink 2 would be worth 9, and a pink 4 would be worth 14 gold. You absolutely can still buy chips even if you exploded, but do bear in mind that whether you exploded or not, you can only take 1 of these gold with you to the next round, so make sure you spend everything else. And then the 6th and final phase of gameplay is that you take your chips, including any recently acquired ones, and you place them back into your bag. I would normally do a review video after I've done a how to play video for a game, but for this game, because the comparisons to the original Quacks of Quedlinburg are so stark, I'm simply going to be doing a video where I compare one to the other from a 2-player perspective and see, well, which game is better. So do subscribe so you don't miss that one. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy the game, and I shall see you in the next one. Take care, goodbye, and don't explode.